It's my profession too. So I do have a lot of people starting off doing it, but I don't make everyone do it. Some of my clients are really obsessed with the numbers. And so for them, I have them doing it a little bit differently. So I have them just so that you understand what the food looks like and how it should look for you. But I also let them know, let's not get too wrapped up in the numbers, because when you start getting too wrapped up in one set of numbers, then it leads to you start getting like wrapped up in every set of numbers and everything has to be perfect. And you're like, well, this is the amount of calories on that. Absolutely right. And I need to absolutely weigh this, and then I need to do that. And then that wasn't correct. And so what about my heart rate monitor? And then the scale numbers and too many numbers just start like overtaking everything that you're doing. So you have to go into it feeling like, I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to study this for this amount of time, and then be able to step away. Start testing yourself and stepping away. Start having days where, like maybe start off pre-logging so that you can get an example of what the food looks like, and then slowly wean yourself to logging after the fact to see like, okay, so when I try it all by myself, how close did I get? And after a few days of that, and you're seeing like, okay, I'm getting pretty good. I'm nailing this without even having to log every bite as I'm eating it. Then when you get to that point, start taking away some of the days. Start giving yourself days of not worrying about the numbers at all. Because it gets really, really stressful when you start going crazy over those numbers. And when you feel like every single thing has to be perfect, it becomes super frustrating because you worry about every number. You worry about, what if my heart rate monitor isn't accurate, then maybe I'm not eating enough. And then you want to, you just start, every single thing becomes like this huge thing. So a lot of times people will ask me that. I'll punch in my workouts sometimes on my FitnessPal just to share the workouts that I'm doing. And then I'll get a lot of questions. How do you know you burn that much? Does your heart rate monitor say that? Are you really getting that much from strength training? Mine doesn't show that much from strength training. And I have to let people know, I just punch in a random, like, I don't care. I don't care about the numbers. I don't wear a heart rate monitor. I don't pay attention to the number that cardio machines give me, because if I allow myself to get too wrapped up, if one number has to be perfect, then eventually you feel like they all have to be perfect in order for it to work out. So you get caught up in every single number, and then when the number on the scale or the body fat percentage or whatever doesn't corroborate with all these perfect things that you have, then it doesn't really, none of it works out, and then you're super frustrated. But you just have to be careful of needing every single number to be perfect, because at some point one of the numbers are going to, like the food nutrition facts are often off, and the way that it's figured out sometimes is off, because calories, period, like we eat food. We don't eat calories, we don't eat protein, we don't eat fat, we eat food. And so the amount on the charts and on the packages are a little bit different, from person to person. So the way that I look at it is, however you start off, if you start off with my FitnessPal's estimations of your exercise and, whatever the nutrition facts say about, and you're not worried about everything being exact, the way that you start off is the way that you can keep doing that, because even though it's not exact, it's good enough for you. If you're making sure that the numbers are, if you're so obsessed with the numbers, then it blows you out of focus. And another one of those examples is like with the scale, like the body fat percentage scales. A lot of times people get so obsessed over like if that actual percentage is right, and it's like it doesn't matter as long as if the body fat percentage on that scale is going down. Like, you don't need the exact percentage. You just get on the same conditions each time, and however it applies to you is how it applies. So it's not about it being perfect. It's just about you being consistent, and however you consistently log is perfect enough for you. But if you're obsessed with perfection, a lot of times you're constantly changing things, which means you're not being consistent. So you want to make sure that you're picking a method to do it, and you're only doing that method, and not like, oh, well, maybe this thing is wrong, so I need to change that, because it becomes a slippery slope of everything having to be perfect, and then you're not doing anything consistent. The only thing that's going to work consistently, is the thing that you do consistently. So it's not going to work if you're changing every 5 minutes trying to nail down the perfect number. So one of the things that I recommend with, like, if I'm just talking to somebody and they ask me for advice, one of the first things that I tell them to do, like if they are getting ready to start logging, I tell them, instead of, and this is probably contrary to what a lot of you like either seen or read, because we have to make a lot of this stuff very general for the base population for getting started. But one of the things that I tell people to do is, instead of finding, how many calories should I be eating for fat loss and then getting started, it's right where you are, start entering your food every day. Don't change anything. Go for like a week, maybe 2 weeks of logging what you actually eat right now. That's the best way to find out what your maintenance levels are. What are you maintaining at right now? And then you just only need to reduce 10 to 15% of that. So that's when you can use the calculators to see, okay, am I where I'm supposed to be? Because if you're not, that means your metabolic rate has slowed down to meet the amount of food that you were giving it on a diet. And that's when you would go through what we call a metabolism reset to get your calories back up to where they should be. If you logging just exactly what you eat already puts you at where you should be, then you just go right into your deficit, and you shouldn't really take more than a 10 to 15% deficit of that. That's how I found mine. And so that's one of the methods that I highly recommend. But a lot of people, they want like black and white. They want like, okay, tell me exactly how many I should eat. And it's you need to find out how many you should eat by finding out what you're already eating. How do you know if it's a reduction if you don't know what you're already eating? Because a lot of people may be eating 2,500 calories and then they just go on a 1,200 calorie diet, when a 2,300 calorie diet would have probably produced the same results and not killed their metabolism. So it's really, really good to know what your starting point is first, so that you can know where you need to go. So it's not just about picking a flat number and going with it. It's about knowing where you are and then seeing from there, what can I add? So you don't have to be, in a nutshell, logging your food, using MyFitnessPal and things like that for tracking your food for fat loss. Is it necessary long-term? Not really. But if you know that you are not the type of person that will stick with it long-term, then you need to go into tracking for fat loss with the intentions of stopping so that you can actually pay attention to what you're punching in and how it affects you and what type of foods it takes for you to hit your goals. What type of foods does it take for you to hit your calories, your macros? What does the food make you feel like? And really taking note of what it is you're entering and what the results are from it. And when you pay attention to those things, those are lessons and habits that you can take with you long after you stop logging. That means that you can go on a vacation, you can, drop your phone in the bathtub and not have access to internet or wherever, and still be able to eat in a way that helps you reach your goals. So that for me is my biggest goal for everyone, is to get to the point where you can eat the way that naturally helps you to reach your goals, and doing that without logging.